What's up, everybody,
Howdy.
again?
African safari theme music.
I know.
everybody.
I love it. I like it. I'm the only one who
Mm.
likes it.
I don't dislike it. I just liked the other one better.
You can almost hear the toucans in the background.
Or the monkey
It's almost
screeches.
like White Lotus. Yeah. So
Tarzan
we got a
himself.
lot to cover today, but I did not put the same verb tables in this week. I did a little bit different because we're just looking at the verb consecutive, so I didn't put them together. But we'll get into it right now. How's everybody?
I'm doing okay. Hanging in there, Jason.
Just like you were an hour ago. Everybody's exactly
Yep.
in the same place. Nobody's
Yep.
left. All right. So we are looking at Hebrew verb
Oh,
tense
that's nice.
in the Vayyiqtol. What's nice?
The books.
Yes, it's AI. Indeed. This is again a reminder of the binyanim. What we've covered, what we've got going on here, basically I've darkened out. I need to bring my pen back on. I've darkened out the PL and Hifil right now because we're focusing on binyan kal. So in the kal, we've covered the suffix tense and the prefix tense, the sufformative and preformative. What we will basically call the past and the future. I don't like the terms, but that's easiest way to refer to them. The imperfect and perfect. This is perfect, not so perfect, but it is acceptable. And this is imperfect, which is less than acceptable. All right, so good. We've got we refer to them by the third person masculine singular. So katal represents the past and yiktol the future. Specifically, ani katalti, ta katalta, at katalt, hu katal, vehi katla. אנחנו קטלנו, אתם קטלתם, אתן קטלתן, והן קטלו. All right, this should be a very quick review for you. So, אני אקטול in the future, אתה תקטול, את תקטלי, הוא יקטול, היא תקטול. Same form here, always. אנחנו נקטול, אתם תקטלו, אתן תקטולנה. It's like tiktol, tiktolna. Hem yiktelu vehen tiktolna. Basic review. This should be in your head by now. If it's not, go back and review. In this session, I'm going to pull some quotes from John Cook. John Cook's a professor, in Toronto, right?
No, Jason.
No, I don't know.
Asbury. My
Asbury.
school.
I thought he was going to be your wannabe in the school you wanted to be
No,
in.
that's Homestead. I actually
Right,
studied under Cook. I have not
I
studied
don't
under
study under anyone. I don't have any pedigree. And so John Cook to me is a very informative writer who has a lot to add and a lot to say, but I don't know his personal life.
He's a cool dude in real life.
So, in his book, Time and the Biblical Hebrew Verb, okay, I have his books I have on Logos, so that's where I'm quoting from. He says, semantically, Vayyiqtol corresponds more closely to katal than yiktol. The form of it looks yiktol, but semantically, as far as their meaning and use, Vayyiqtol is like katal. And similar, vekatal, ostensibly ve plus katal, aligns semantically better with yiktol than with katal. Okay? So it's like they're mismatched. This apparent semantic similarity between forms is evident from the affinities between the grammar's taxonomies for Vayyiqtol and katal, on the other hand, and those for vikatal and yiktol on the other. Okay, so what does that mean? He gives a little image on the same page. This is page 81 of his Time in the Biblical Hebrew Verb. I've added ve instead of w because I don't like using w's for considerations when you can use ve. But Vayyiqtol has formal similarity, like it looks the same form, Yiqtol, Yiqtol. It has the same formal similarity of as Yiqtol or Vayyiqtol, but it has semantic similarity to Vikatal. Oh, Katal. Katal without the V. Sorry. So Katal is the past tense, and Vayyiqtol is the past tense, relatively. Yiqtol, we would say, is the future tense, Ki'ilu, irrealis, and Vikatal is irrealis. They're the same, like they relate to one another. So if we start a tale with the past tense Katal, we're going to continue going on with the Vayyiqtol. And if we say something as the base in the future, Yiqtol, then we're going to continue to talk about it in the Vikatal. We'll see some examples afterwards, but let's not make a big deal of it. Let's try to keep it simple. Yes, keep it simple, stupid. Okay,
Jason, I'm gonna need to disappear at 7 o'clock, just to warn you.
no. This is the problem.
Sorry.
Prior to the West Semitic innovation of the suffixed verb, okay? Long in the history of Hebrew, there wasn't a suffixed verb. There wasn't a katal. Okay, so it had yaktul and it had yaktulu. Okay, yaktul became the vayyiqtol and yaktulu became yiqtol. To be really simple about it. Okay, so in biblical Hebrew, the reflex of the yaktulu retains its prototypical imperfective meanings. That is the ongoing action in the past and present. But these meanings have become marginalized for the form, which is becoming increasingly associated with irrealis mood. This is the complexity of it, that we had two forms, yaktul and yaktulu, in ancient time. And eventually these forms kind of merged so that they were yiqtol, that's this one, and vayyiqtol, this one. And this one was used as narrative past, and this one as irrealis. Okay, that's what it comes to. All right, so let's clear that up. Yaktul became Vayyiqtol, the perfected, the past tense narrative, and Yaktulu became Iktol, the imperfected. How do we know this? I have no idea because I don't know other cognate languages, but this is what the research shows. And this is where everyone is going. Do you guys have any comments to add or to clarify? Because I'm sure I'm doing a terrible job of this.
It's Proto-Semitic, so it's just the best guess.
Best guess means
Yep.
it's theoretical.
Yep.
That's what all them
Theoretical
asterisks. That's what all them asterisks is. They're
Theoretical.
forms.
Theoretical. Yeah. Mm-hmm. All right. Okay. So our grammar says on page 226, even though Hebrew verbs do not by themselves indicate tense, notice what I've highlighted there. They may be found in certain constructions to refer to specific situations in the past or future. This is the standard teaching of biblical Hebrew grammarians, that Hebrew verbs do not indicate tense in and of themselves. This is countered by John Cook, Time and the Biblical Hebrew Verb, where he says, the identification of Vayyiqtol as a past narrative conjunction appears prima facie, meaning to be taken at first sight, like you just assume it because you see it so frequently. So it appears prima facie quite straightforward. At first glance, it looks straightforward that this is a past tense. In anyone's statistical count, well over 90% of the more than 15,000 occurrences of the form in biblical Hebrew appear in prose narrative with past temporality. So if 90% of 15,000 are in the past tense, then we have to say that the Vayyiqtol indicates past narrative. So this is one of the strongest things that we can say about Hebrew verbs. That Vayyiqtol is used for past narrative. Is that established?
Well, it depends on who you talk to, but I think so.
Yeah, it's established. And one more thing from Seow, confirming the same thing that John Cook said about Yaktul and Yaktulu. On page 225, Seow says, in fact, the Yiktol form has two different origins, Yaktulu for the imperfect and Yaktul for the preterite, referring to past situations. But early in the evolution of the Hebrew language, final short vowels disappeared, that is, the U disappeared, and then we had, what is it, Yaktul, Yaktul? It's the same thing. Disappeared, so the imperfect form, Yaktulu became Yaktul, became identical to the preterite form Yaktul. In time, Yaktul, that is either imperfect or preterite, developed to Yiktol. Thus, Yiktol form may be imperfect or preterite. In its latter function, of course, there is some overlap with the perfect. So the standard way to indicate the perfective sense of the Yiktol is to add Vai, that is Va with Dagish. Okay, I think that is enough of the theory, but let's look at the problem of tense in
Quickly.
English.
Sorry, quickly.
Yeah.
I would just add, in comparative Semitic literature, you will see sometimes them referred to as the long prefix form and the Yiktol and the Yachtul, like the Yachtulu and the Yachtul rather. You'll see sometimes the long prefix form or like short prefix form is what you'll see a lot of the time, because they just talk about it morphologically. But yeah, you'll see that too.
So
And that's the
I don't
difference that
expect.
they're talking about in those
Mhm.
is the difference between those two forms. That's all.
Yeah, I wouldn't expect students who are new to biblical Hebrew to be memorizing this stuff. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah,
What I want to get across to you as beginning Hebrew students is that the confusion we see in the forms Yiktol and Vayyiqtol, future and past, or Irialis and past, is derived from the fact that these came from weird places in the language, and that's what you need to get out of this. That it looks like a ball of confusion, but there is some order in the madness. That's what you need to get from it. So, what are the tenses in English? Anybody?
Past, present, future.
Brilliant, past, present, and future. That's what they tell us all throughout grammar school, right? The English has past, present, and future. You say, I eat, I ate, and I will eat, right? So, what's that bring us to? What is the tense of the verb I eat?
Present.
Present. What's the tense of the verb I ate?
Past tense.
Right, so let's consider the following. I eat pizza every Sunday. Is that present tense? I eat pizza every Sunday.
That is.
They would tell us, yes, it's present tense, but it's not referring to now. It's referring to a habit.
Yes.
It happens every Sunday. So present tense doesn't really refer, even in English, to the present. It can be gnomic. If you want to say, right now, you have to change it, and you have to say, I am eating. I'm eating pizza now. Right? Actually, I have pizza in the other room waiting for me. That was the knock on the door. My roommate brought me pizza. I told him to put it outside.
Well, that was very nice of your roommate.
I know.
So
this is when I eat pizza, I eat it with sugar-free cola. Right? I eat it. When I eat, that is anytime, I eat it always. We got something going on here, something strange in English. I ate pizza on Sunday. That's definitely past tense. Right? What about this one? If I ate pizza, I would eat it with sugar-free cola. That's Cola Zero. I didn't want to advertise Coke, so I said sugar-free cola. If I ate pizza, I would eat it with sugar-free. I don't eat pizza, but if I did, I would eat it with this. Okay, so we use the past tense not only in English for the past, but also for hypothetical, right? If I ate pizza, it's like saying, if I lived in Japan, do I live in Japan? No, I don't. But if I lived in Japan, I would visit Tokyo regularly. Okay, I live in Israel, so if I lived in Israel, I would visit Jerusalem regularly. It's not really true. I go like once, twice a year. If I ate pizza, I don't eat pizza, but if I did, it's hypothetical. We use the past tense for counterfactual hypotheticals, and you do the same thing in Hebrew. The katal is used for counterfactual hypotheticals, and the yiktol is used for potential hypotheticals, which are conditional sentences. Okay, great. So what is the vayyiqtol? Vayyiqtol is essentially you take the future tense yinhag in this case. It's not really the future. You really take the jessiv. But we
Marcelo
haven't
says,
learned.
hopes everybody's doing good. Hi, Marcelo. Good to
He
see
says
you
what?
folks in Chatland. We have chatters. Marcelo
Yes,
says hi.
and he said
Muriel
like a conditional.
comments that this is interesting. I had never noticed the ambiguity in tenses in English too.
Yes,
And yes, it is like a
exactly.
conditional. Yep. Yep. Sorry to
Yeah.
interrupt. I'm trying to keep an
No,
eye on chat.
absolutely. Good, because I can't see it when I've got my screen in front of me. So we really use the jussive. The jussive is like a short form of the yiktol. So you would say something like yashir. You say yashir. All of the hifil verbs like yashir, you say yashir. The e becomes e. Like there's a shortening of vowels, but essentially it's the same as the future. Yinhag, and then you add va with dagesh. Vayinhag. So yinhag means he would or might or will drive, like you drive cattle into the field. Yinhag. The past tense, this is past narrative. That's when you're telling a story. You're recounting a story. You say vayinhag. Vayinhag means and he, or so he, or then he. The vav, the translation of the vav is going to be problematic, but it means he drove. Like he drove the cattle into the field. Vayinhag et ha-behemot, or whatever, el asadeh. Whatever. Yinhag. In modern Hebrew, we use it for driving like a car. Noeg. Yikach. Yikach means lakach, he will take, he would take, he might take. Vayikach, he took. He took. So these are going to be our irrealis, and these are how we express it in the past tense. Normally, in the past tense, it's the narrative. Okay? So what can you tell us about this one? Colton dropped out. Jonathan.
Which one?
Paul.
Yipol? It's a
Mhm.
call imperfect or a yiktol, third masculine singular, and it's from nafal. The assimilated noon is the dogish that you see. So instead
Yeah,
of
so it
yin-pol,
would be
it's
yin pol.
yip-pol.
Yes,
Right.
yin pol. So it doesn't like yin pol, but it does do it in the infinitive. For some reason, in the Bible, you say lin pol. Lin pol is to fall, but in modern Hebrew, we also assimilate it there. We say lipol to fall. Okay, so what do we have going on?
Oh, it goes from he will fall to and he fell. So from
Vayipol.
I hate to say this, but we go from future tense to past tense.
Yeah. And this is why traditionally this vav is called the conversive vav.
Ugh.
Conversive because it
Ugh.
creates a converse, it changes it. Or in Hebrew, it is called this in Hebrew grammar, it's called vav ha'ipuch. And hipuch means turning something over, la foch. So it's the vav that turns it over from future into past. and also from past into future, which we'll go over shortly. Okay. What do we got there, Elena?
Imtsa
Mm-hmm.
is a Skalmatsa. He
Mm-hmm.
finds. Imtsa he will find. And Vayyiqtol will be Vayimatsa, which means he found.
He found. Brilliant. He found. Okay. Ya'ane. What happens when we have these ones that end in e is that the e drops off. The hey disappears. Third hey. So ya'ane becomes ya'an. Ya'an. And then that becomes vaya'an. Vaya'an, and he found. He answered. Ya'ane, he will answer. Vaya'an, he answered. Um, I would like to show what happens more directly, so I'll open Microsoft Word real quick because this is my Segolith formation that I'm so obsessed with. Right, Jonathan?
You are
Segolith.
indeed, but it's nice
Yes,
because you
indeed.
teach it well.
So let's look real quick at what's going on. Okay, so ya'ane, ya'ane. Okay, we have these vowels. This is an echo vowel, right? This one. So when the e drops off and the noon becomes final, what we really have, because this is an echo vowel, what we really have is a consonant cluster with ein and noon. And the stress is automatically there because it's the only vowel. It would like to add segol because segol is normally the vowel that's used to break up consonant clusters. But ein is guttural, and gutturals prefer ah. So instead of ya'in or ye'in, it's ya'an. Ya'an. I hope that that makes sense. Ya'an. So when we make the vav consecutive, you add va and you double the thing that it's in, the first letter. Vaya'an. And he answered. Okay. Should be good. I hope that's good. All right. The same thing happens with ya'ase. Jonathan, will you describe ya'ase to us and what happens to it?
Yes, I'm not used to being called on. So, ya'ase, you have all of the vowels for the imperfective form, right?
And what does it mean?
A call to he will make. He will make,
or he will do.
and
He
then
could
yeah, he will
do. He
do, or
might do.
yeah, depending.
Hmm.
And then put the vav on the front, and it becomes and he made, or just he made.
Right. And the same thing happens. Vaya'an, vaya'as. Will we ever find full forms like vaya'ane?
I think so. I think they happen every now and then, don't they?
Absolutely, they do.
Mhm.
Especially in the King's record. In we can find this really quick and very easy. So let's go
And
back.
in the first person singular, they tend to appear with full forms instead of the.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
Oh,
So
Colton's
let's
back.
do specifically this one. We're not with a suffix. And if you add a suffix, then yes, the hey will always be there.
Yes.
But we want specifically without suffix. This is 2 Kings chapter 1. Vaya'ane Eliyahu vaydaber el sar chamishim. So Elijah answered and spoke to the commander of 50, whatever you call a commander of 50. But so you will see Vaya'ane and Vaya'ase and all of these, especially in the King's record. For some reason, they use it there more than in other places. Okay, next we have Yvnei. Is Colton with us?
Colton is with us. His picture is not, but I think he is.
I I am here. I'm just eating, so I didn't want to be on camera.
Do you want to explain what's going on with the next one?
Sure,
Yvnei?
Yvnei is he might, should, could, would, will build.
Mm-hmm.
And by Yivin is he built.
Yeah. What's going on with that one?
Again, it's another final haze, so it drops off and creates the same seglet pattern. It just does the E-class vowels because it's not a guttural.
Yay! What do we call this? What's the magic grammarian word for the hay falling off of it?
Apoccupation.
Occupation.
Yes. You guys
We
love
answer
those
almost in
words.
stereo.
You guys love those words.
I love.
Okay, so
yes, I
to
do.
form the jussive of third haze, we drop the a, and this gives us yiven. The natural
magic
stress of the word is right there, yiven.
Sorry,
and we have a
Jason. The
consonant cluster.
magic grammarian word.
Yes.
It's a magic
So
one.
yiven means let him build. Yiven. And the verb consecutive is vayiven. Oh, that's ugly. Oh, that's ugly too. What happened? Vayiven. Vayiven, and he built. Vayiven mizbeach. He built an altar. Yeah. Great. While we're at it, there's one that's shown in the book as an exception to this. When you have K sounds for some reason at the end of the word, it's going to affect it differently. Oh my goodness. Okay, so Yivke means he will or might or could cry or weep. Okay, the word is going to end like this, Yivk. Okay, for some reason, when you have that end of the word instead of E, it's going to become E. So we say va yev.
What are you doing, Jason?
I don't know. The zero key on my
Becoming
keyboard
more like
sticks.
me every day.
Does it have a shva at the end of it?
Yes.
It does
Inside.
indeed. Yivk, and so does yasht. Or yisht.
Yes. So leashkot in the PL, hishka in the future is yashke. Yashke. So again, it has this. Oh my goodness! I need a new keyboard. This is driving me nuts. Yashke. Oh, okay. Yashke. Okay. It ends up like this. Yashk. And you say Vayashk. Vayashk means he watered. He gave drink. He caused it to drink. Something like that. Like you can water the grass or give water to your animals. All right. Yomar. There is Vayomar. It's in pause generally. And then there's Vayomer. Vayomer. Some of these words we have a shift in the accent and we just have to memorize them. So Yeshev, he will sit or dwell. Vayeshev, he sat or dwelt. Yakum, he will rise. Vayakom, with a O. Vayakom, he arose. Okay. We want also, if we're going to think about Vayashev. We have this is Yeshev. He will sit, or he would sit. But we also have Ya Yashiv. Okay, Yashiv is hifil of to return, to cause to come back. So this one becomes Yashev. Okay, Vayashev. With this, okay, Vayashev, and this one is these are really at the level of just having to memorize them, honestly.
Yeah.
Vayeshev, Vayeshev, and Vayashev. So this one means he lived, stayed, dwelt, and this one is he caused to return. He brought back. Okay. Vayeshev, Vayashev. And these are ones that you just have to learn the difference of. All right. That was a lot of coverage in a single slide. Do you need a breather for a second, or how are we doing? Elena, how are you feeling?
I feel good. Thank you.
Mm.
All is good.
I sh-
All is well.
I should say that if oh my goodness, Vayishkav means he laid down. Vayishkav. The I did it is like Eshkav because the imperfect is for I. Eshkav. So if we wanted to say va with dagesh, the aleph rejects the dagesh and the patach becomes long. So va ishkav means and I lay down. Okay. Yeah.
I got a question. If we turn to Vayeshev thing,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
so if there is no Nikud over there, there's no way to tell which one is which. I thought we discussed it in some psalm or somewhere. There is ambiguity this of this. No, I don't remember exactly, right? So, and it is. Mm,
How would you read these two? This is beyond basic Hebrew. Like, what is this? What's this one?
Vayeshev.
Vayeshev b'veit lechem. How do I know?
Because in the house.
Because it's got a locative. It tells you where
Uh-huh.
he dwelt or he stayed in Beit Lechem. But what about this one? What about this one?
Well, it's probably Vayashev because it's returned where at Amor El
Yes.
Haaretz.
Yep. Context. Context is everything.
Yeah. So this one here will have a direct object. This is what's the word for taking a direct object? I'm asking because it's escaped me. A word
word for-
is blank if it takes a direct object. Transitive.
Yes.
Okay, so we have to think of transitivity. If the word takes a direct object, it would not be he lived. He lived can't take a direct object.
Okay.
But Vayashev, he returned, he made come back, he made his people come back to the land. That's transitive. So Vayashev. So the context and transitivity really plays a big deal in knowing the difference, not just of these two, but also of others that are similar. Yeah. Okay. We have on the opposite end of the spectrum the use of what look like past tense forms to be used as future. And there are a couple of indications of what's going on. Just like Ya'ase becomes Vaya'as, he did. Halachta, you went, becomes Vehalachta, you will go. You will go. This is used in every aspect of the Irialis, just like the Yiktol. Normally, you will have Yiktol, you have whatever Yiktol verb, and then it's followed by the next phrase, Vekatal. Yiktol, Vekatal. So, what's an example? Shema Yisrael. Okay, this is Deuteronomy chapter 6. Yeah.
Yeah, v'ahavta.
Let's look quickly at Deuteronomy chapter 6 because it's got an excellent example. Deuteronomy, if I can type in English. Yes. Deuteronomy 6. Okay, Deuteronomy 6:4 says, Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Hear, O Israel. So we've got this as an imperative. The imperative force of this verb Shema, listen, is going to be carried into the Vekatal here. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha, and you shall love. Listen and love the Lord your God with all your heart, soul, and might. V'hayu, hayu we know is normally past tense, but v'hayu is the future. And these words will be, these words which I am commanding you today, upon your heart. And then we've got the shinanta with the mem suffix, like you shall repeat them. V'shinantam levanecha, v'dibarta bam, and you will speak of them. B'shivtecha b'veitecha, uvelechtecha v'derech, uv'shochbecha, uv'kumecha. Okay, you shall repeat them to your sons, and you shall speak of them in your staying in place, in your sitting, in your house, and in your going on the way, and in your lying down, and in your rising up. And it goes on, ukshartam, you will, v'hayu, they will be, uchtavtam, and you will write them, v'haya, and it will be, when the Lord your God brings you into the land which he swore to your fathers, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, to give to you. Okay, this doesn't matter as far as the tenses are concerned. All of this stuff is not connected to.
You're out of the Shema now. Yep.
Yeah, but the point is that you start with an imperative, and then you continue that imperative force with an irrealis perfect, an irreal perfect, v'yyiqtol. Normally, the v'yyiqtol will shift the accent to the end. Okay, so it's vehalachta, not vehalachta, ve'ahavta, v'shamata, and you will hear and hear. But that is not the case when you have third hey or third aleph. Asita ve'asita, karata ve'karata. The accent doesn't shift. But normally the accent will shift to the end, or you shall do it. Okay? It's the same thing with halachti, I went, vehalachti, and I will go. Ahavti ve'ahavti, shamati ve'shamati. The accent shifts to the end to say for the future. Okay? How are we processing this? Sometimes I think you just have to keep going, and then hopefully it makes sense.
We are going fine. Keep going.
All right. So notice then that we have vayikach. This is vayyiqtol. Vayikach, and he took. But we have also vayyiqtol, which is the yiqtol with vav. So this would still be irrealis. Vayikach is not the same as vayikach. Vayikach is the past tense. Vayikach is and let him take. And let him take. It's a jussive. Let it happen. Irrealis, volitional. Okay. Same thing here. Vayas, and he did or he made. Ve'yaseh, and he will. We can have the yiqtol that is not vayyiqtol. We have to have that first syllable with the ah. We have the past tense. Okay, so yiten, vayiten, ve'yiten, vayakom, ve'yakum. Okay. All right. So it's just to say that there's a difference between vayyiqtol and vayyiqtol. And then we have this wonderful verb, lihishtahavot, to bow down. Hishtahava. This is the most interesting of all of the verbs.
It also sounds the coolest.
Yes. Hishtahave means he will bow down, or he would bow down, or he might, or he should. All of those modal senses. Hishtahave. It's irrealis. Irrealis, it's not real. Conditional or something like that. Okay? So theoretically, you add the va with dagesh and you get vayishtachave. Okay, but what happens? We lose the e, right? And we end up with vayishtach. Okay, we've got a vav hanging out there on the end. Remember that the vowel here is an echo vowel. It's not real, so this is really a consonant cluster. Vayishtach ve. What happens is that theoretically, we drop a segol in between these two consonants to break it up, but the segol is colored by the guttural chet and becomes a. So vayishtachav or vayishtachau, and the ow becomes u. Vayishtachu. Vayishtachu is the real form that we find in the Bible, meaning he bowed down. Vayishtachu. Vayishtachu. We find that a lot. And so it's kind of hard for people to understand. Why do we say hishtachava and yishtachave, and we end up with an u on the end? Right? Vayishtachu. Why do we have an u? It's because of this, the monophthongation of this diphthong. Ow becomes u. That's what's going on theoretically. Okay? Brilliant. All right. We have, let's look at setting up verbs in the past sequence. Okay? We saw this in our reading in the last hour. Vayihi is the ye, the future, ye of haya. Okay? When you drop this right there at the end, you have again a consonant cluster, hy, that when you have this pattern, it's going to, this one become e to resolve that, and this one is going to reduce. So yehi means let it be. In Genesis chapter 1, God said, let there be light. Yehi or. Or is light. Yehi or. Let it be. Let light be. Let there be light. Okay, and we use that Joseph whenever we make the verb consecutive. Vayhi, notice the dagesh is missing. Okay, it's yehi. We would want come with patach and dagesh. The dagesh is missing because of skinem levi. Have we talked enough about skinem levi? When we have a vocal shva in any of these letters, the S stands for samich, shin, tzadi, all of the S sounds, shin and sin. K stands for kuf, N, L, V, Y, that's nun, mem, lamed, vav, yod. Any of these letters, when they have a vocal shva after them, they tend to drop dagesh. Okay, so skenim levi is what we call the rule.
But do they always drop the dagesh, Jason?
No. That's why I use the word tend.
Tend to.
Yeah.
Right.
It especially happens in prefixes. All right. So, vayihi, va'erev, in the evening. So, and it was in the evening. Vayikach et Leah vito. Okay. And it was in the evening, and he took et Leah, his daughter. So what does the setup really mean? Vayihi doesn't mean anything. It's just setting up a past, and the vav here is just relating to the continuation. So neither one of these words should really be translated. We should say, in the evening, he took his daughter Leah. In the evening, he took his daughter Leah. And the vayihi is just a stylistic thing of Hebrew. So let's look at another example. Vayihi bayom hahu vayavo avdei Yitzchak. Okay? Vayihi, and it was on that day, and they came, and this is the subject, the slaves of Yitzchak. Okay, Yitzchak's slaves. So we get rid of this and we say, on that day, Yitzchak's slaves came. and then that would give us more information. So yavo'u is from yavo, future, yavo, and then they. Yavo'u, vayavohu, vayavo'u, and they came. So, Jonathan, would you agree with this analysis? I know you were
I would.
particular about the use of the vag.
Oh yes,
Translation
you're
of the vag.
doing. Oh yes, you're doing fine.
Good.
I got a question, but this Vayhi, that meant something for them. We don't translate it, but for them it meant something, right? They could not do it without this word.
Because they want to use the narrative past,
Uh-huh.
so they're using something to set up the use of the narrative past.
Uh-huh.
Because this word you wouldn't start a narrative and say vayavo'u blah blah blah. Like you don't normally start narrative with a vav consecutive unless you first open it with vayhi. That's just the normal structure.
Okay, so if we compare it with Vayhi Boker, Vayhi Erev, so there we translate.
No, that's different.
And it's different.
That's different because vayhi represents two things. It can be a literal there was something, right? That's existential. This is existential. Is it there is or there is not? There was. And the second thing is that it could be not existential, but simply syntactical. Syntactical means that it's just used to set up the structure of the sentence.
And this
What
is
do you
new,
want to say, John?
This is new because you do have in the old versions, and it came to pass, right?
Yeah,
That's due to our not understanding the Hebrew properly. That's not due because it should be translated. I think Jason is right here in his explanation. I don't think it's ever necessary to say, and it came to pass, or and it happened
And
that.
it came to pass on that day that they did come, the servants of Isaac. Like it's bad English.
Yeah, but it's a poetic.
Well, it would lead us into the direction of the Book of Mormon. And it came to pass, and it came to pass, and it came to pass. It's awful. It's really bad.
It's poetic because it's old, yes. And there's value in the poetry. I like the poeticness too.
Yeah.
I
So,
like
John,
it.
could you give us this one? Translate through it. Read through it. Translate through it.
I can try. I'm sight reading. So Vayhi va'elev vayikach
No,
et. Wait, what? Sorry, which one?
the third one.
Oh, the third one. Vayhi ba'et hahi vayavo'u vayered Yehuda. So past tense indicator.
Mm-hmm.
At that time.
Yep.
At that time. They came and went down, or Judah came and went down.
So they came
and went down to
and Judah went down. No, this is singular. Yered, it's Judah. But
they
this is
came and Judah went down.
Yep.
Yeah.
And at that time, they came and Judah went down.
Or if you want
whatever
the
the context
version,
would be.
and it came to pass that at that time. But yeah, you don't need it.
Yeah. What about this one, Elena? You want to read that one?
ויהי כאשר ילדה רחל את יוסף ויאמר יעקב.
How would you literally approach it?
Literally, that would be, and it was.
This is when.
When a girl.
Or, no, yelda is the verb, and Rachel is the subject.
Okay, so when she bore. Rachel.
When she bore.
When
Joseph.
Rachel bore Yosef,
Uh-huh.
Yaakov said.
Yeah. So we would connect them if this is, and it came to pass when Rachel bore Joseph, that we would translate the vav with that if we say it came to pass. And it came to pass when Rachel bore Joseph that Jacob said. Okay? But we don't need to say this. We just say when Rachel had borne Joseph, Jacob said. And we just don't translate the vav and we don't translate the vayhi. Okay, the vayhi is establishing, it's setting up a sequence. Okay? All right. Look at another example. Colton, you around? Yeah, there you go.
Colton
You
is
want to read
here.
this one? This is the word for the satchels, like the satchel bags.
Okay, am I just reading and translating?
Yeah.
Sure. Vayhi kivana. Sorry, give me a second. Vayhi kivana el hamalon.
Vanu.
I did it again. That's why I restarted.
It sounds like Aramaic. Aramaic with that.
I know. Vayhi kivanu el hamalon v'niftacha el amtachotenu.
Yeah, amtachotenu. Mm-hmm. I didn't put stress marks on this one. I don't know why. Niftacha would be a cohortative, right? But it's just used as a verb consecutive. What's it mean?
Folks, I need to head out, but thank you, folks. This is good stuff.
See you, Jonathan.
Yeah,
All right.
nice to see you,
See you,
Jonathan.
folks.
When we came to the lodging place and we opened our bags,
Yep, so
we opened them,
but we don't want to translate the end.
Yeah,
So
right.
when we came to the inn, we opened our bags. Yeah. Yeah, good.
Admittedly, that's really hard to
mhm.
do without any context. It took me a second.
Yeah. Malon is the word for hotel today. An inn, hotel. So
Yeah.
today I work in a malon. And Yoved Malon Hilton. I work in Hilton Hotel. Malon Hilton. Okay, so the opposite is true, just like Vayhi is used in the past tense to establish a sequence. The future is going to establish the same thing with V'haya. Haya is the past, so it's used as the future. V'haya bayom hahu, in the future. V'karati le'avdi, okay? And it will come to pass on that day that I shall call my servant or my slave. So we can get rid of this and we can just say, on that day, I will call my slave. On that day, I will call my slave. But the layout in Hebrew, v'haya bayom hahu v'karati le'avdi. Same here. V'haya ki tavo el haaretz asher yiten Adonai lachem kasher diber ushmartem et ha'avodah hazot. Okay, so the u here is that, or it's the result. And it shall come to pass when you shall come into the land which the Lord will give to you as he spoke, then you shall keep this service or this work. Okay, more colloquially, without the haya and without the vav here, when you come into the land which the Lord your God, which the Lord will give to you as he spoke, you shall keep this service or this worship. All right. These are our verbs. Let's go through very quickly because we need to run into our Patreon hour. Baka, livkoa, is to split. Zana, as a verb, is to act like a prostitute, to fornicate. Liznot. So the noun is derived as a feminine participle, zona, prostitute, zona. Chaza is to see a vision. Lachazot is the all of these are the infinitives. I'm starting to give infinitives just so you can get used to hearing them before we run into them. So Jose as a participle, Jose means a visionary, someone who has visions, a prophet. In terms of Israel, the state of Israel and its existence, for a long time it was considered a dream. Like nobody thought that we would actually establish a state again. But the person who had the vision of the reestablishment of the state of Israel in the city of Basel, if you remember, was Herzl, Theodor Herzl. And so he is called Jose Hamidina, the one who envisioned the state. Jose Hamidina, the one who had a vision of the state. Chasach, lachsoch, is to save, like you save money, or to hold something back. So whenever God told Abraham to sacrifice Isaac, in the end, he told him that you have shown that you would not hold him back. You would not withhold him or keep him for yourself. Okay, ma'as, limos. Ma'as is to reject. Another way to say reject is in the PL, lema'en, mi'en with aleph. Me'en is he rejected. Lema'en is to reject. Another way in modern Hebrew, we use serev, le sarev. So this is to refuse or to reject. Le sarev in modern Hebrew. Hu serev, he refused. Naga, to touch. It's lagaat or lingua. There are two different infinitives, lingua or lagat. They mean the same. To touch, it's followed with bet. Lagat be, lingua be. But when it's followed by el, it means to arrive. Like if you imagine, like if you touch a place, you touch to a place, then you arrived at the place. So with that in mind, also the hifil is used, higia or lehagia with the nun assimilated. This also means to arrive with el or be. Okay, latsum, tsum is to fast, like to not eat because you're observing a religious thing or because you have blood tests. Latsum, not to take food or drink. Okay, this week on Thursday, we're going to cover lesson 19 from last week. Next week on Monday, continue our David reading and cover the volitional forms in Hebrew, the jussive, cohortative, imperative, all of the volitional forms. And then the week after that, cover the homework of the lesson we just now went over. This, again, has been Biblical Hebrew 101. I know that it is not the easiest thing in the world, but I think you guys are handling it pretty well. Adel says, thanks very much. It was great. And Moyle's also saying thank you. I hope that it is being covered well enough that it makes sense for you guys. And I don't have anything else to add. Colton, you got anything to add?
No.
It's a hard topic to cover in an hour, I think.
Yeah. It's complex for sure.
Yeah. And the homework might get a little bit difficult, but we're at that point where things are going to start getting more difficult because we're rounding out to the end of the book.
Mm-hmm.
All right. We're going to go over for Patreon users that want to join us. Did I put a link up? No, it's the regular link
for
every
that
week.
one, but I assume as long as you just go back to one of the
Yeah.
old ones, you can do
Yeah.
that.
It's the same link every week. So,
Yep.
All right, guys, we will see you in a couple minutes.
Yep.
Bye-bye. Thanks a lot.
Bye.